ladies and gentlemen. So, I've gotten asked a lot about my opinions on gi and no gi, so here they are. In case you don't know what the gi or what no gi is, this little pajama suit that I'm wearing right here is a gi. And if I take off this belt and this jacket, I'm now in no gi. Usually no gi is trained with either a real tight-fitting kind of polyester spandex shirt. We call them rash guards. Some of us just wear t-shirts. And you'll see people do no gi with the gi pants still on. Most of the time they'll wear shorts, or if you're like me, I just love those $10 sweatpants, man. You just can't beat them. There's a few small differences, mainly because in the gi, you get to use the gi against your opponent. So you can grab on the collar, you can grab all sorts of directions, you can twist and crank and yank to your heart's content. Whereas in the no gi, can't pull on the shirt, can't pull on the shorts. You just got your arms, legs, and whatever else you can find. Now, at tournaments, they tend to be scored just a little differently. You've got your gi competitions. Most of your scoring is higher numbers. In other words, or for example, the mount tends to be 4 points at just about every tournament I've ever been to in the gi. Side control tends to be 3. However, you go in the no gi, a lot of the time every position's 2 points, with the exception of the back most of the time. The culture between gi and no gi, it can vary some. Now, I'm going to use some of the more extreme examples. I'm going to paint with a broad brush, which y'all know I hate to do. On the extreme two ends of it, in the gi, if you're going to a school that's primarily or only gi, it's typically going to be more of a formal kind of setting. It's usually going to be a lot more traditional. You're going to hear a lot more oaths, and there's going to be a lot more bowing and things of that nature. Typically, the workout's going to be a lot more regimented, and they're going to be a lot more traditional, and they're going to have kind of that hierarchical style of culture to them. On the far extreme of no-gi, it's going to be a lot more of a relaxed, kind of informal sort of environment, and you're going to get a lot of folks that are more like your wrestlers, or you're going to have another subset of jiu-jitsu types that tend to, let's just say they tend to be real chill, real down-to-earth, real cool and calm, and they tend to carry an earthy, very natural aroma about them. Yeah, so that's kind of the difference between the two sets of the culture, at least. Now, my thoughts on it. First of all, if I was bringing up a new person and putting them into jiu-jitsu, I would ask them, first of all, what their goals are. If you want to compete in gi jiu-jitsu, then by all means, go grab a gi and never take it off. Except to wash it. That might be a good idea. But if you're wanting to learn self-defense, or you're wanting to do MMA or something, you got to do some no-gi. Now, not that gi is not applicable in a self-defense situation, because I can see if you live in a climate where there's a lot of clothes to be worn, lots of jackets and coats and things, it would definitely apply. You can use a lot of that sort of stuff in those situations. Matter of fact, the gi itself is meant to simulate the formal wear of Japan way back in the day when judo was first invented. The kimono style outfit, that was the average businessman suit back in those days. So that's kind of where the gi gets its whole thing from. But if you're like me and you're from the deep south, jackets, we wear them 3 times a year. You know what I mean? You'll hear a lot of people say, oh man, no-gi is more athletic than gi. And the reason they're saying that is because in the gi, you can grab someone by a piece of their fabric, you can hold them down, and there's a lot less scrambles that occur. In no-gi, it's a lot harder to get a more permanent position. There's a lot more wiggling and sliding that can happen. So that's why they're saying that. But honestly, I think you're far more apt to get injured in gi than you are no-gi, because you put a lot more unnatural pressure on joints. If you grab someone's sleeve and they go to yank out of it, and you've got that gi wrapped around your fingers, they're using the whole force of their arm and their shoulder to pull against your fingers. If you are playing Nogi and you've grabbed their wrist, they're going to twist and slide right out of it. If someone grabs the back of your collar and you go to lift up, they're pulling on that gi, they're putting a lot more stress on your neck than it would have been as if they'd have just had maybe a little collar tie or something and you just slide out of it. I can only speak for myself, but I feel a lot better after training a whole bunch of no-gi than all the little soreness I get in my neck and my fingers after playing gi. I would have to say, given that I started out in no-gi first, I feel like I was on a bit of a faster track my first 6 months as opposed to people that have never done no-gi. And that's mainly because anything you can learn in no-gi can be applied to the gi, but not the other way around. And if I had to bring somebody new up into the sport, I would rather have them have that as their default, just so they're not hunting for grips that aren't there. But regardless, just get out there and roll. Gi is fun, no gi is fun. Remember, you're beating everyone that didn't show up to class that evening. We'll holler at you soon.